Hello and welcome back. We are doing a market update of statistics because we haven't done one in forever. So, first headline is Halifax home prices have dropped $66,000 from April 2026, which was the all-time high real estate prices in Halifax. So essentially in April 2026, home prices peaked in Halifax at $666,000. They are now average price for July 2026 is $599,299. Don't be alarmed by this. I would be alarmed by how high they got. That concerns me, but the drop acts actually on par with what the average home prices have been for the last 2 years in July and August. Typically, your spring market always peaks as your home prices reach ultimate peak value, and then they settle off in the summer as the summer settles down for real estate transactions because people are busy with kids, they're on summer vacations, they're not buying or selling houses. So don't be too alarmed, but you are down 66,000 from April. The really big headline coming out of the market right now, and you may or may not be noticing this if you are following real estate in Halifax. Halifax is almost in a balanced real estate market. So if you listen to the podcast, you've heard me talk about this before. Real estate has three types of markets. We have a buyer's market, a balanced market, and a seller's market, and they are defined by months of inventory. What that means, the equation we use to calculate months of inventory in a real estate market is by saying, okay, if this market gets no more new listings based off of consumer consumption, buyers buying homes, how many months until we run out of homes we're selling? That way that's defined as a seller's market is 0 to 4 months of inventory, a balanced market is 4 to 6 months of inventory, and a buyer's market is 6+ months of inventory. All those mean is if you are in a seller's market, the negotiation leverages with the sellers because there are far fewer homes than there are buyers. A balanced market is defined as buyers paying fair market value for homes, and a buyer's market is that the leverage and negotiation is with the buyers because there are far more homes for sale than there are buyers purchasing homes. Super simple. Halifax came out at 3.9 months of inventory in HRM for July 2026. That is 0.01 points away from hitting a balanced market. To give you an idea of what that really means, at 3.9 months of inventory, we are up a full 1% since July 2025 when we were at 2.9 months of inventory. The last time Halifax had 3.9 months of inventory, it was actually September 2019. That's how long it's been. Almost 7 years since we had 3.9 months of inventory in Halifax. That we have 1,500 homes for sale in all of HRM. So all the units being condos, single families, semi-detached, and mini mobile homes. 1,500 homes for sale, 1,500 units for sale in all of HRM. That is the highest since November 2019. To give you an idea of what this is indicating, this indicates that the market is starting to slow down. You see it, if you've been watching the real estate market, you notice that it's not quite as hectic as it was. Days on market's going up. It was now at 36 days on market, which is up from 32 days on market for June 2026. So you're starting to see it with homes sitting a little longer. You're seeing more price adjustments, and buyers, if you are shopping in this market, you're starting to notice that you can actually negotiate more for what you're buying. So you can start to see the signs there. A few more things would be the total new listings is up, with more people listing their home in July, putting on the market to sell in Halifax, than in July 2024, 2025, and July 2023, and July 2022. So just to put that into context, we have more people list their homes than the last 5 years put together. Not put together, that's the wrong thing. In the last 5 years, every month over month, it's not put together. If it was put together, it'd be a lot higher number. Total sales and pending sales were both down in July 2026. So on top of a month where we got more new listings than in the previous 5 years in the month of July, we also had lower total sales, meaning homes purchased, and pending sales, meaning accepted or conditional or sold homes in July 2026. So while you're getting more inventory back inventory being homes for sale, you're also having consumers buy less homes, so taking less inventory off the market. I'll give you to put this in perspective, right? The big highlight here is the fact that Halifax is almost in a balanced market for the first time in 7 years. 1,500 homes for sale, the highest amount of homes for sale in Halifax since November 2019. Like, this is for people who have been waiting for home prices to maybe settle or come down a bit, or have been predicting a certain correction in Halifax. I'm not saying that we're there, any of these things are happening yet, but you are starting to see the market shift from what it was in 2021 and 2022, when it was a really crazy seller's market with less than 200 homes for sale in Halifax. In February 2022, we had less than 200 units for sale in all of Halifax. Just to put that into context, and we're at 1,500. The last time Halifax was in a balanced market was August 2019. And all that means is that the last time Halifax had 4 months of inventory in it was August 2019. The average price point in August 2019 was $326,318. Fast forward to July 2026, at 3.9 months of inventory, Halifax home prices, the average unit price is $599,299. So that really paints a picture of how the market has changed in the last 7 years in Halifax, how much home prices have increased due to new demand over the last 7 years, due to shifting buyer trend. People we had that come from aways in 2020, 2021, and 22 who had a little more money buying these homes. Work from home policies shifted. And now it does feel like, as you see BC and Ontario go through housing corrections, that Nova Scotia and Halifax may be also experiencing their own small correction. I've said it before on this podcast, I don't think we're going to see the numbers, the decrease in home prices that BC and Ontario have gotten. I've always been a little more conservative at between 5 to 10%, I think is what a correction you're probably going to see in Halifax, just because I don't think home prices do feel out of control, historically speaking. Let's be honest. I've been quoted on this podcast before by saying that when I first got into real estate in 2017, home prices were undervalued in Halifax. The real estate industry, that was a consistent conversation in the real estate industry in 2017, 2018, 2019. A lot of the industry felt that Halifax should have been in the $400,000 to $450,000 range for the average price for a home based on the rest of the country. So we were undervalued for a long time, then probably too high a value as home prices shot up, peaked this year for the first time ever in April 2026 of $666,000 average home price, which is, in my opinion, too high for Halifax. If you're talking about a 5%, a 10% correction based off of $666,000, well, congratulations, we've already had a 10% correction, because 10% of $666,000 is $66,000. We've already had that correction from April 2026 to July 2026. And if you're doing a 5% correction, it's $33,000 correction. That is assuming that Halifax should be staying at a $666,000 average home price, which no, it should not be. That is not where we should be. I've always said $550,000 to $600,000 feels like kind of where home prices should be given the rest of the country. I know people will feel that that's still too high of average price points. But just realistically speaking, for what people were paying for houses, they've set new standards and new trends. I really want to hammer home for the last little bit here is the fact that we are almost at a balanced market. Keep an eye on the real estate market, because over the next 6 months, Halifax for the last few years has always tended to get inventory back, and has always seemed to claw new homes sitting on the market longer as we shift into the fall market, which is Halifax's second busiest real estate market. It hasn't been that crazy of a fall market for the last few years. It always seems to be a little less of a whimper than a bust, than a boom. And as you go into winter, Christmas, the real estate market really sells down in Halifax. So that's typically where you see more and more inventory come back, and more homes come on the market for sale that sit longer. So I'd guess by the end of the year, we're probably going to be sitting around 4.2, 4.3 months of inventory and maybe hit as high as 1,700 to 1,700 and 1,500 sale in Halifax, which if you're hoping for home prices to settle down, can only be a good thing for you guys if you're looking to buy homes. For sellers, my advice would be very careful and watch the market and what's happening in your real estate market so that you can price correctly and still have to sell your home. Because, hey, even in this cooling market, you're still seeing homes that are really well priced, good location, good conditions, still sell in a matter of days. There are still active and engaged buyers in the market. There are still people looking to buy homes. You haven't missed the market if you are looking to sell your home. You just have to be very realistic in what you're doing. You have to put a very correct plan in place with your realtor to be able to sell your home. All right. That is the current market update, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or DM me. Have a good day.